Red Brick Media. High quality CDs, DVDs, lectures, khutbah, conferences and Quran recitations. All revenue generated supports our dawah work, supported by visiting our store. You can now purchase directly from our site www.redbrickmedia.co.uk.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. It's gonna be difficult, man. I can't. Can you hear me in the back? This is as loud as I can go. Is that okay? Not good? Come closer if you want. Yeah? Alright. Alright, so I'm supposed to talk about something called lofty aspirations. What's that? What are lofty aspirations? Basically, in simple, it's aiming high. Aiming high. That's it. Aiming high in life, in your goals, everything you want to do, you want to be the best. So, where do we learn the concept of aiming high? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know something? There was a man making dua. So the Prophet ﷺ tells him, when you ask Allah, ask for al-firdaus. What's al-firdaus? The highest level of Jannah. So your Prophet ﷺ is teaching you that if you ask for something, you ask for the highest. You always aim high, you always go for the best. Alright? And so the same thing when it comes to this dunya. And one of the worst things that happens to young religious men, okay, is that they start to think that, you know, the akhirah is important, of course, we all know that, but this dunya is not important. So you just be some loser, some riffraff, work at McDonald's, flip burgers, as long as you pray on time and everything, then it doesn't matter. No, it does matter. It does matter. You're supposed to be the best everywhere. You're the Muslims, the best of people. So you're supposed to do your best in this dunya, and aim high in this dunya, and aim high in the akhirah as well. You were never told to just ignore everything in this life, alright? So a lot of times you find young men, they get bad grades, they don't care. This is all materialism anyways, this is all ilm of the dunya. Mathematics, Allah won't ask me about mathematics on the Day of Judgment. It's true. That's not a reason to get an F. You understand? Allah is not going to ask me about physics on the Day of Judgment. Physics won't help me cross the sirat. Yes? You know, you just make an excuse for failure here. Don't say that stuff. You want to be the best here? You have to do the best at everything. And all, whatever it is you want to do, aim high. There's nothing unreligious about wanting to be successful, for example, making good money, for example, and you can use that money to take you into Jannah. Look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the companions and what they did for him, the successful ones, even monetarily, what they did for him. They used their money to go into Jannah. They used their money to go into Jannah. The Prophet ﷺ used their money to spread Islam. He used their money to prepare armies. You remember the Battle of Tabuk, right? It was a very difficult battle. It was called the Army of Distress. It was a time of difficulty. And it was a time when no one had money. It was a time when the dates just started to ripen. And we had to leave when the dates were just getting ripe. What's the big deal there? So what if the dates are getting ripe? Exactly, no one's going to pick them. So you leave for 2 months when the dates are getting ripe, so they're going to fall to the ground, the birds will eat it, and you're not going to get the harvest, you're not going to get the money. So everyone's waiting for the money to come, and now it's time to leave. So there was no money, and the Prophet ﷺ needs money to get this army together. So the Prophet ﷺ stood up. It's like the fundraiser like we do today. He got up and he said, who will prepare the army of al-usra, the army of distress or difficulty? And he will get al-jannah. He will get paradise. So there was a millionaire in the audience, but the type of millionaire that you want to be, the one that gives for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal and doesn't worry about it. Not the kind that just has some fancy car and they walk around frowning and giving dirty looks to people. Look at me, I've got a car. Anyways, so this millionaire, what was his name? Anybody? Anyone? Uthman ibn Affan. Uthman ibn Affan. Excellent. Uthman ibn Affan, the companion, radiallahu anhu, he stood up. He said, I will give 100 camels for the army of distress. 100 camels though, ready to go. بِأَقْتَابِهَا وَأَحْلَاسِهَا. يعني it's got the reins, the ropes, the saddles, everything. All you have to do is just get on. Ready to go. Yeah? So then he sat down. Notice the Prophet ﷺ said, who will prepare the army and they will have al-Jannah. So now he got al-Jannah for giving these 100 camels. So the Prophet ﷺ needs more. So he got up and he's saying again, who will prepare the army and he will have paradise. So the millionaire got up again and his name was Uthman ibn Affan. He got up and he said, I will give another 100, fully ready to go, fully loaded, all options. Yeah? Ropes, saddles, ready to go. So then he sits down. Third time, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who will prepare the army? Uthman gets up again. He sits down, he gets up again, sits down, gets up again. It is narrated that he got up 7 times. One narration says he got up 10 times. So he got glad tidings of al-Jannah, just in this one incident, besides the others, 7 times or 10 times according to one narration. But that's a millionaire, and he uses money for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Doesn't mean you won't be religious if you're successful. Doesn't mean you're not as religious as the guy who's getting F's. Brother next to you is bearded up to here, he's getting F's in school. MashaAllah, he's all about the akhirah, this guy. You're getting A's and B's, you know, he's got the dunya in your heart, you need to take that out. Get some F's in your report card, you know, be a good religious brother. So you aim high with everything. But you know something? You want to aim high? You want to make something of yourself? It's all about how you use your time now. Wallahi, it's all about time. And time is a concept that a lot of youth, they just don't know what that is. What's time? Time? You sit there and play video games all day. Yeah? Who plays video games all day? Don't put your hand up. Yeah. All day. Brothers play video games all day. And this wasting their life. You know, this is a concept I call mini suicides. What is your life? What's your life? Your life is time, isn't it? Your life, it's seconds add up to minutes, minutes that add up to hours, hours that become days, that become weeks, that become months, that become years. That's your life. It's time. So every time you waste time, it's like you're committing a mini suicide. You sit and watch something on TV for 2 hours, you committed a mini suicide. You killed yourself for 2 hours. True or false? You killed yourself for 2 hours. You know something, watching TV is very weird, because what you do when you watch TV is you sit still watching other people move. That's what you do. You sit still, you watch other people do things, other people achieve, play sports, bungee jump, experiment, find things with animals, and you're just sitting watching them do something with their life. You're just watching them, you're amazed. Like, Allah, it's amazing. It's sad. You know, they say this statistics are for the United States, so maybe you guys get a few years off, I don't know. They say that if you, in the United States, if you die at the age of 75, you would have spent 12 years watching TV. 12 years. 12 years like this. "12 years like this? How will you answer to these 12 years in front of Allah Azza wa Jal? 12 years just sitting watching TV. And you know, when you watch TV, haram flies in and out real fast too. A lot of haram happens. Come quickly, real fast. Women. You're watching, next scene is a woman in shorts or something you're not supposed to be looking at. Music shows up suddenly. Bad themes, bad ideas constantly. 12 years wasted like that? Fine. We'll give a discount for Muslims. 8, 9 years. Yeah? You know, adults that you see around you that do things, it's not like suddenly they turn 20 and they just had all these abilities and languages and knowledge, and they started when they were your age. You have to start young. You can't waste your life playing video games, I'm telling you. And I think you all heard me speak about video games a lot, right? Because I hate video games. It's very bad for you. They're fun, but they're very bad for you. Your brain fries. Yeah? You know how you've played too many video games? If your brain is frying or not, as you watch, just go like this. Touch here. If you hear sound, your brain is frying. I know some people who played video games for so long that the video game said, turn me off. There's a game like that. It's called Metal Gear Solid. Anyone play that game? Don't put your hands up. So the game, he was playing for so long that the game came on and said, hey, don't you have anything else to do? Why don't you turn off this game and go outside and play or something? That's shameful. That's shameful. But that's how people spend their life now. Oh, this for me? Oh, that's fantastic. Not yet? Okay. And that guy can hear me finally. We're getting a mic for you, sweetheart. Anyways. So, should I keep going? Okay, Jazakallah khair. Can you hear me now, sweet stuff? Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, anyways, so, oh wow. Yeah, you spend hours watching TV, wasting your life, committing many suicides. It's the time now to, you know what, if you ask me a moment that I regret in my life, I immediately think of one thing. This one summer, where my dad, he offered me to drop me off at a mechanic's place every morning on his way to work and pick me up on the way back so I could learn about, you know, cars and engines and how they work and things like that. And I didn't go, and this is how I spent that whole summer. Sleeping, turn around on this side, I get too tired, turn on the other side. The whole summer was just wasted like that. And I could never get that summer back, ever. Anytime you ask me, what is one time you regret in your life? I regret that summer. I could have learned something. And you know something? There's never been a time like this ever, for not just for the Muslim Ummah, but for humanity, when knowledge is so at your fingertips, so accessible. Knowledge is so there, right there, seconds away from you. And if you consider the amount of knowledge that's available and how ignorant people are, it's shameful. People don't know anything anymore. Because as much as there is knowledge, there's also so much entertainment. And so what's the easier route? Play games or even just get on, you get on YouTube just for 2 hours, just watching this guy, his car bumper flies. Whatever they want to do, even in the comfort of their own home. Yani there are some people who learned languages in their home. There are people who learned their religion, people who memorized the Qur'an, but they just did one thing, they just took advantage of their time. And they're not geniuses or anything like that. We have a brother, a friend of ours, he memorized the Qur'an in his car. In the Washington DC area, very bad traffic. So he would photocopy a page of the Qur'an. Every time he's stuck in traffic, he just memorizes that page. He memorized the whole Qur'an. Whole Qur'an. And he's not like an incredible genius or anything, he's just a regular guy. The regular person is able to memorize the Qur'an. But it's not about that, it's about who will just put effort into doing so. You guys know about Dr. H, right? I told you about Dr. H? Okay, it's this guy that I knew. I've met this guy, we used to work with him. And he was one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever seen in my life. First of all, in Islamic knowledge, he's extremely knowledgeable. He memorized the whole Qur'an in different qira'at. And his voice is so good that they made a set of the Qur'an in his voice and they played in the radio in his home country constantly. So good knowledge, memorization of the Qur'an, beautiful voice. Then he, in his knowledge of the English language, Arabic and French, unparalleled. Written, everything. Incredible, like really high level. So I understand because of his country of origin why he knows good Arabic and why he knows French and English. But he also is very good at Spanish, written, reading, everything. So I asked him, how are you good at Spanish? Spanish isn't spoken in your country. He said, yeah, because I had all these classes when I was a young man during the week, and I saw that I had 1 hour that was empty, a gap, 1 hour. So I signed up for Spanish classes. Had one gap. You know how we would spend that 1 hour, right? Video games or watching, video clips or just 1 hour. I said, let me do something with that. So I know what you're thinking, he's a nerd, right? You could probably beat him up, slap him around. Oh no, he'll slap the daylights out of you. He has a 2-degree black belt in Aikido. You know Aikido? Japanese martial arts. He's a weightlifter as well, bench press 350 pounds, strong guy. He spent 6 months with the samurai in Japan. He's got this authentic samurai sword. He'll chop you before you know it. He'll be like, okay, let me go. So your legs will go that way and you know? So, but the way he became that way is that he was always taking advantage of his time as a young man. These type of people, they're rare, okay? But he just took advantage of his time. Spend your whole time just wasting it, yeah? how are you going to have any aspirations? How are you going to move forward? How are you going to do anything? People have exams, they watch a movie. And people always say they don't have time, but they have time for movies. I always love these people. Tell me, Akhi, we need to do this. I'm very busy these days. And, okay, you're busy, you can't come, that's fine. 2 minutes later, yeah, so I was watching a movie last night. Wait a minute. Didn't you just tell me you don't have time? How were you watching a movie last night? That means you have plenty of time. So you always have time. I love these 11-year-olds that tell you, I don't have time. What do you do as an 11-year-old? What's your schedule like, huh? Have important meetings? Okay, yeah, yes, I see. What are you talking about? Cartoons or... I don't even know what's big anymore, yani. Cartoons or what people waste their time with. But everybody has time. We just don't make time. We force time. See? People say, I don't want to give da'wah. I can't give da'wah. I don't have time. Yeah, you have. You just force time for da'wah in your life. Yeah? The Prophet ﷺ would force time for da'wah. When he went to a Ta'if, he stayed in a Ta'if for a number of days. People think he went to a Ta'if and came back the same day. No. He stayed for days in a Ta'if. But notice when he went to a Ta'if, he had a family to look after. His wife, Khadija radiallahu anha, just passed away. He had 3 daughters in his home. He had things to do. He had responsibilities. But he forced time for da'wah. People don't force time anymore. They expect to have a chunk of free time. You know something? Before you leave here, I want you all to harass Sheikh Abdul Bari Yahya. Yeah? Because, you know Sheikh Abdul Bari, right? You're looking over there. He's not right there. Yani. But Sheikh Abdul Bari, I shouldn't say his name, but yallah, just go harass him after this. So he learned, some languages. He speaks Cham. You know what Cham is? Anyways, he speaks Cham. How did he learn Cham? He learned some languages just for da'wah, to give in the mountains in Cambodia. You know how he did it? He had note cards, and he said wherever, this is how people think that you should learn, right? If I want to learn a language, if I want to memorize Qur'an, I must have an empty 5-hour slot during the week. That's when I sit and do that. No. You do it in the little 5-minute slots here, 2-minute slot over there, 3 minutes over here, 1 minute over here, 2.5 minutes over there. These minutes add up. And you can do incredible things if you add up all these little minutes. So he said, I had, language, a lot of it is vocabulary as well, right? Once you learn sentence structure and other things, you need vocabulary now. So he had, what is this for?
At the end, can you do like a question and answer and this is prizes?
Okay.
Also, we're going to finish in about 15 minutes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. All right. So basically he had note cards in which he would put these words. He said, if I stop at a traffic light, how long does it take for the light to turn green? A few seconds, 30 seconds. He said at the traffic light, I pulled my note cards and start to memorize. Okay? And wherever he gets a minute and a half, he'll pull and start to memorize. So all these little minutes, they add up, and he learned a full language. Now if you would sit him down and say, what did your schedule look like? It's a totally packed schedule. There's no time for anything else. Okay, how can you take a schedule like that that's fully packed and there's no time, and yet you find a way to force time to learn an entire different language? And it was quite a rare language as well. Why? Because in this fully packed schedule, there are these 2-minute gaps, 1 minute, 3 minutes over here, 4 minutes over there, and you can do things in these minutes. People always tell you, oh, I want to learn Arabic. I'll go overseas and learn Arabic. You don't have to. Wallahi, you can do it here. Just turn off the video game for a second, okay? Don't waste time on the internet. Don't commit many suicides. And you can learn Arabic here. You know, brothers that I love, I call them the Medina brothers, yeah? They want to learn, they want to go to Medina and study the deen, right? But they don't go to local classes down the street here. So you tell me you're going to get on a plane and go halfway across the world and you're going to learn the religion there, but there's a class right across the street, right down the street from your house in the masjid, and you don't go to it. MashaAllah, when I go to Medina, I will learn everything this sheikh is saying and I'll come back better than him. Ya akhi, learn now. Learn now. Take advantage of your time now. You can't aim high if you're wasting your time, video games. You know, the world really needs you. I know that sounds like, but look at what's happening in the world now. Who's happy with the situation anywhere in the world? It's not good anywhere. But I always worry about when the next generation is in charge of the world. Like, how bad is it going to be? These kids just wasting their life. And then suddenly they're supposed to take over. So we'll be old timers if we live that long. And then this next generation will take over. And what is it going to look like? It's going to be crazy, violent generation. Yeah? Human violence now is just like entertainment, yeah? You watch people being chopped off and cut into pieces and murdered, train runs over a guy, and it's just an entertaining thing you send to your friends. Oh, look at this guy. Check this idiot out. He tried to run in front of the train. It's funny, yeah? It's human suffering, it's not funny. And I just wonder how cruel the world is going to become now when the next generation takes over. Gotta watch yourself, wallahi. It's very important. You know, now people get stabbed and stuff, people just pull out their phones and they document it. They want to be the ones to put it on YouTube so they can get hits and stuff. Cruelty. So you're needed. So you can't just sit and play games all day, shooting people again, hurting people again. I think I told you about that guy in Ramadan. In Ramadan, he's playing that game, you know, where you get in the car, Grand Theft Auto. You stop in the street, you go rob a store, then you come back, you run someone over and stuff. In Ramadan, he's playing it. In Ramadan, it's a brother with a beard and everything. I can just see what he looks like. Can you imagine what he looks like? Full beard in Ramadan. Okay, let me go in here and rob. I need more money. Let me kill this guy. Yeah? And I told you about the other guy. This guy was playing that game where you conquer nations, right? And he, at some point, the game became a reality in his head. Because he came to me boasting about how most of Europe now is under Islam, alhamdulillah. It's like in real life or in the game. It's like I'm playing with the army of Abu Bakr and I've alhamdulillah now conquered most of Europe. Really? Okay. What do you say to someone like that? Yeah, and he was like close to 30 years old at the time. What do you say to someone like that? Anyways. You know something, if you can be moderate with video games, fine, go ahead. But I don't know who can be moderate with video games. It's 1 hour, it's going to take from your time, another half hour over there. If you spend that with other things, you'll be so far ahead of everyone else. And you have the opportunity to excel and be better and beyond everyone else. Your peers, wherever you are. Co-workers, you can be better than everybody. And that should be the Muslim, right? Always excelling, always known as the best people. Okay. And now certain people, they're looked at as excellent workers. And for example, in America, if there is an Asian, and by Asian here we mean Far East, yeah? So if there is an Asian person, everyone expects excellence from them. Because they have, at least in America, they have a history of doing good work. And being excellent workers and being diligent. But imagine it were the Muslims. The Muslims were the ones known for being like that. Wouldn't that be great for us? And now, what are the Muslims known for? We're not going to make this a negative thing, but if there's a Muslim being hired, everyone's excited, oh, he's going to be a great hard worker. You know how these people are. Yeah? Some cities you go, the only people, this is in Europe, yeah? I'm not going to mention the city. Some cities you go, the only people begging are Muslims. Only people in the streets, Muslims. So what happens to the reputation of Muslims? What happens to the reputation? Yeah? And you know what this becomes? It becomes a fitna for the non-Muslims. This is a dua that Musa a.s. made. It was really an amazing dua. He says, he's saying to Allah Azza wa Jal, لا تجعلنا فتنة. Don't make us a fitna للذين كفروا, for those who disbelieve. Could the believers be a test for those who don't believe? See, the person who doesn't believe, there are many things that will pull them away from Islam or from believing in Allah. It could be whatever. It could be wealth that they have. It could be a situation, whatever. But on top of that, this non-believer looks at the Muslims and he sees that they're the worst people. They're in the worst situation. They're always asking him for help. They're always begging him. They're broken. They're just in the worst situation. So then what happens to him in his head? He starts to feel confident that, you know what, they can't be upon the truth. And some people have said things like that to us. They said, if Muslims are the best people, meaning they have the best religion, if the Muslims are the ones upon the truth, the only religion on earth that's upon the truth, why are you in this situation? What do you say to him? I said, look at the situation you guys are in. Always asking for handouts from us, Western countries, we're always helping you guys out. You guys are always killing each other. And here you are telling me you have the truth? It doesn't seem like you have the truth. So you see how in this example, our bad behavior was a fitna for this guy, it was a test, it was something to further push him away from Allah. So you have high aspirations, you're good at everything you want to do. Okay, let me tell you something. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يحب إذا عمل أحدكم عملا أن يتقنه. That Allah loves if one of you does a job, does any action, does a job, that he does it to the best of his ability, that he perfects it. Okay. Now, this hadith, does it mention what type of action it has to be? If you do something, amalan, do an act, an activity or action or work or a chore, whatever it is. So it doesn't have to be something religious. It could be something simple. It could be you fixing your shoe, you're sewing something, or you're fixing a light bulb, or you're painting a wall. Wait a minute, but the hadith said Allah loves. So you're telling me this is something non-religious and not an act of worship. If I paint a wall in my house, Allah might love the way I do it? Yes, the hadith says that. It says Allah loves that if one of you does something, he does it to the best of his ability. To the best of his ability. Then the Prophet ﷺ gives an amazing example. He gives an example of slaughtering an animal. And now I'll tell you why this is an amazing example. He says, فَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الذِّبْحَ. If you slaughter, perfect the slaughter, the act of slaughter. طيب. What is so amazing about this example? Everyone awake? Yes? No? It's a British thing, huh? No reactions, huh? Question means yeah, nod or something, you know. Anyways, so now what's amazing about this example? This is an animal that you put down on the ground, and it's going to die in a few seconds. In a few seconds it won't exist anymore. So if you don't slaughter it properly, or if you slow down or you mess up a little bit, it's going to delay its death like what? A second or a few milliseconds, right? I mess up a little bit, I didn't sharpen the knife 100%, so it was a bit slow cutting through its arteries and so on. But even though in a few seconds it won't exist and it will be gone, the Prophet ﷺ is giving an example, even at the last seconds of this animal's life, and it won't exist anymore, in a few minutes it will be gone, still you do your best here. These are the standards of the Muslim. You do your best in everything. You know, when you go to a Muslim business, and inshallah in the UK and in Birmingham, this is better than it is in America. But when you go in America, you go into any place, it's clean, it's organized, it's neat. Go into a Muslim business, you know, the chairs, they're not stable, the table is wobbly, everything is chipped, the paint is chipped, and you get the brother treatment. You know what the brother treatment is? They just give you anything, brother, okay brother. They just give you something cold, something with a hole in it, brother, okay brother, you get the brother treatment. What happened to itqan? Perfecting everything that you do. So you aspire for something, you become the best at it. You want to do something, you do it to the best of your ability. And don't let anyone belittle you. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do something. That's one of the worst things that happens to you when you tell yourself, I can't do something, or you allow someone to tell you that you can't do something. I want to explain a concept to you, a very nice concept. It's called learned helplessness. Yeah, learned helplessness. And this is something that happens to elephants. You know circus elephants? Circus elephants, they tie them down. In the old days, they would tie them down with a rope. And the rope is attached to this peg, like this big nail that they beat into the ground. So the elephant, you think it would easily pull that little nail out of the ground and escape. But it never tries. Why not? Because when the elephant was a baby, it was tied down in the same way. It tried to escape and it couldn't. So when it grew up, even though now it's strong enough to escape, it learned to become helpless. It learned to become helpless. So it never ever tries. The elephant can pull the whole tent down with one leg, but he never tries to escape because he learned to become helpless. So learned helplessness, this is something that we do to ourselves all the time. So for example, you say, I'm not good with names. Who says that? I'm not good with names. A lot of people say that. I'm not good with names. So you know what? You will not be good with names because you set yourself up for failure. You told yourself, I'm not good at this. So how are you going to be good at it? So if someone tells you his name, even if it's an easy name, my name is Muhammad, you forget it. Because you told yourself, I'm not good with names. I'm not good with math. You say that to yourself, I'm not good with math. If you tell yourself, I'm not good with math, you will set yourself up for failure. You will never be good at math. You learn to be helpless. I'm not good with roads. I used to say that a lot. I used to always say, I'm not good with roads. And because I set myself up to fail, I was very bad with roads. And I'm not making this up. One time I got lost in the street behind my house. I'm not making it up. I called a friend of mine, said, look, I'm on a road that's called Wilson Boulevard. And he just started laughing. He said, you're behind the house. Just come in the front, you know? But I told myself I'm not good with roads, so I was horrible with roads. Yeah? You tell yourself you can do anything, you can do it. You know, when we were growing up, we never felt we couldn't do anything. And my younger brother, I love this about him. He would see the most difficult thing on TV. The most difficult thing. He would just look at me and say, I can do that. Anything. Guy spent 5 years training for something and he does a handstand on his finger and stuff. He looks at me and he's like, I can do that. It's the right attitude though. Because this person doing that thing, he's a human like you. He bleeds like you. He has to eat and drink water and breathe air. So if he can do it, why can't you do it? Can anyone explain? You just have to go through whatever training he went through and you can do it. Why not? And you know something about my younger brother? Because he always had this attitude, he was superb at most things that he wanted to do. He was excellent at, especially physical things. Yani. And he's one of those people who are good at sports. Yeah? Anyone like that here? Good at basketball? No? Nobody? Football? Nobody? Just you? All you, the rest of you are all nerds, huh? That's fantastic. That's good. I feel at home now because I'm not a nerd, but I also stink at sports. Anything with the ball in it, I'm horrible at it. Yeah. But he was superb. He was 8 years old. He would outplay adults in golf. He would beat all the adults at a golf course. Not like mini golf. This is a full-scale golf course. He's good at everything because he told himself he can do it. So if you tell yourself you can do it, you can do it. You tell yourself I can't, or someone else tells you you can't, don't ever let someone tell you you can't do something. You know, a wise man once told me, he said, you want to do something, don't talk to people about it. Because they'll tell you, oh, it'll never work, oh, it's difficult, oh, it's hard, oh, don't try it. Yeah? Just put you down. Someone says you can't do it, just prove to them you can do it. And never talk to them again, meaning don't give them don't tell them your aspirations from that point on. Fantastic. Excellent. So we have to stop now, and is there any time for that?
Yes, it's fine.
There's supposed to be 10 minutes Q&A, or we're done? Done.
No, we're done, but this is just extra.
Okay, fantastic. I'm supposed to ask you some questions so you can get some CDs on the importance of time management. I don't know what to ask you though. And it's been quite serious, this talk. I don't like giving very serious talks. In your youth, you like jokes and stuff. Maybe I'll tell you a joke or something before we... What do you want, questions or a joke?
Jokes.
MashaAllah. High aspirations. After all this talk, like jokes. Who wants a CD on time management? I failed there, huh? Excellent. Okay then, if you just want jokes then, how much, you just buy the CD then, how about that? Buy it? Okay. Can't think of a joke. You all heard the mango juice joke, right?
Yeah.
So I can't repeat that one. You heard the Sudanese jokes, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem with YouTube, man. They used up all my good material. I don't have anything left. So khalas then, we'll just stop here. Who has a good joke? Maybe someone has a good joke. Naam? No. I'm not going to say those again. Okay, how about this joke? So this guy goes to apply for a position at an Islamic center. 3 men, they go to apply, young men like you, they go to apply for this position at the local masjid. So the first one goes in, they ask him, they say, what's your name? He said, my name is Muhammad. He said, okay, Muhammad, recite Surah Muhammad, please. He said, I haven't memorized it. He said, well, sorry, you can't get this position. He goes out, the next guy comes in. Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. So what's your name? He said, my name is Yasin. So, well, Yasin, recite Surah Yasin, please. He said, I haven't memorized Surah Yasin. He said, well, you can't get this position. Sorry about that. Thank you for your time. So the third guy outside, he sees these people are coming in, leaving very quickly. He said, listen, what do they ask you in there? They said, look, they ask you your name, and if it coincides with the name of a surah in the Qur'an, they ask you to recite that surah. He goes, oh no. So he walks in, he says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. What's your name? He said, look, my name is Ibrahim, but my mother, she calls me Qul Huwallahu Ahad. Alright.
Jazakumullah khairan. Sallallahu barak ala Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم